Kitchen sink drummer. Kitchen sink drummer is a British cultural movement that developed in the late 1950s and early 1960s in theatre, art, novels, film and television plays, whose protagonists usually could be described as angry young men who were disillusioned with modern society. It used a style of social realism which depicted the domestic situations of working class Britons living in cramped, rented accommodation and spending their off hours drinking in grimy pubs to explore controversial social and political issues ranging from abortion to homelessness. The harsh, realistic style contrasted sharply with the escapism of the previous generation's so-called well-made plays. The films, plays and novels employing this style are often set in poorer industrial areas in the north of England and use the accents and slang heard in those regions. The film It Always Rains on Sunday, 1947, is a precursor of the genre, and the John Osborne play Look Back in Anger, 1956, is thought of as the first of the genre. The gritty love triangle of Look Back in Anger, for example, takes place in a cramped one-room flat in the English Midlands. Shelley Delaney's 1958 play, A Taste of Honey, which was made into a film of the same name in 1961, is about a teenage schoolgirl who has an affair with a black sailor, gets pregnant and then moves in with a gay male acquaintance. It raises issues such as class, ethnicity, gender and sexual orientation. The conventions of the genre have continued into the 2000s, finding expression in such television shows as Coronation Street and EastEnders. The term kitchen sink school was first used in the visual arts, where the art critic David Sylvester used it in 1954 to describe a group of painters who called themselves the Beaux Arts Quartet and depicted social realist type scenes of domestic life. History. The cultural movement was rooted in the ideals of social realism, an artistic movement expressed in the visual and other realist arts, which depicts working class activities. The leading characters are often anti-heroes rather than part of a class to be admired. Typically, protagonists in social realism are dissatisfied with their working class lives and the world, rather than being idealised workers who are part of a socialist utopia in the process of creation. As such, social realism allows more space for the subjectivity of the author to be displayed. Partly, social realism developed as a reaction against romanticism, which promoted lofty concepts such as the ineffable beauty and truth of art and music, and even turned them into spiritual ideals. As such, social realism focused on the ugly realities of contemporary life and sympathised with working class people, particularly the poor. Kitchen sink drummer involves working class settings and accents, including accents from Northern England. The films and plays often explore taboo subjects such as adultery, premarital sex, abortion and crime. In the United Kingdom, the term kitchen sink drummer derived from expressionist paintings by John Bradby that contained an image of a kitchen sink. Bradby did various kitchen and bathroom themed paintings, including 3 paintings of toilets. Bradby's paintings of people often depicted the faces of his subjects as desperate and unsightly. Kitchen sink drummer artists painted everyday objects such as trash cans and beer bottles. The critic, David Sylvester, wrote an article in 1954 about trends in recent English art, calling his article "The Kitchen Sink" in reference to Bratby's picture. Sylvester argued that there was a new interest among young painters in domestic scenes with stress on the banality of life. Other artists associated with the kitchen sink drummer style included Derek Greaves, Edward Middleditch and Jack Smith. Before the 1950s, the United Kingdom's working class were often depicted stereotypically in Noel Coward's drawing room comedies and British films. Kitchen sink drummer realism was seen as being in opposition to the well-made play, the kind which theatre critic Kenneth Tynan once denounced as being set in Loamshire of dramatists like Terence Rattigan. Well-made plays were a dramatic genre from 19th century theatre, which found its early 20th century codification in Britain in the form of William Archer's Playmaking, a Manual of Craftsmanship, 1912, and in the United States with George Pierce Baker's Dramatic Technique, 1919. Kitchen sink drama works were created with the intention of changing that. Their political views were initially labelled as radical, sometimes even anarchic. John Osborne's play, Look Back in Anger, 1956, depicted young men in a way that is similar to the then contemporary angry young men movement of film and theatre directors. The angry young men were a group of mostly working and middle-class British playwrights and novelists who became prominent in the 1950s. Following the success of the Osborne play, the label Angry Young Men was later applied by British media to describe young writers who were characterised by disillusionment with the traditional British society. The hero of Look Back in Anger is a graduate, but he is working in a manual occupation. It dealt with social alienation, the claustrophobia and frustrations of a provincial life on low incomes. The impact of this work inspired Arnold Wesker, Shelley Delaney and numerous others to write plays of their own. The English stage company at the Royal Court Theatre, headed by George Devine, and Theatre Workshop, organised by Joan Littlewood, were particularly prominent in bringing these plays to public attention. Critic John Heilpern wrote that Look Back in Anger expressed such immensity of feeling and class hatred that it altered the course of English theatre. The term angry theatre was coined by critic John Russell Taylor. This was all part of the British New Wave, a transposition of the concurrent Nouveau Vague film movement in France, some of whose works, such as The 400 Blows of 1959, also emphasised the lives of the urban proletariat. British filmmakers such as Tony Richardson and Lindsay Anderson channeled their vitriolic anger into filmmaking. Confrontational films such as Saturday Night and Sunday Morning, 1960, and A Taste of Honey, 1961, were noteworthy movies in the genre. Saturday Night and Sunday Morning is about a young machinist who spends his wages at weekends on drinking and having a good time, until his affair with a married woman leads to her getting pregnant and him being beaten by her husband's cousins to the point of hospitalization. A Taste of Honey is about a 16-year-old schoolgirl with an abusive, alcoholic mother. The schoolgirl starts a relationship with a black sailor and gets pregnant. After the sailor leaves on his ship, Joe moves in with a homosexual acquaintance who assumes the role of surrogate father.
Hey, I've been looking for you. I've cooked dinner, don't you want it?
I don't fancy anything.
Well, I haven't poisoned you up till now.
I don't want anything to eat. I'm gonna have a baby.
Yes, I thought so. You're in a bit of a mess, aren't you?
Oh, I don't care.
You can get rid of babies before they're born, you know.
Yes, I know, but I think that's terrible.
When's it due?
About November.
Your mother should know.
Why?
Well, look at the things you'll have to buy for a baby. Clothes, and you need a cotton of pram, won't you?
Oh, shut up. I'm not planning big plans for this baby. You're dreaming big dreams. You know what happens when you do things like that? This baby will be born dead or daft or...
You're just feeling a bit depressed, that's all. You'll be your usual self once you get used to the idea.
And what is my usual self? My usual self is a very unusual self. And don't you forget that, Geoffrey Ingham. I'm an extraordinary person. There's only one of me, like there's only one of you.
We're unique.
Young.
Unrivaled.
Smash it.
We're bloody marvellous.
A Taste of Honey raises the issues of class, race, gender, and sexual orientation. Later, as many of these writers and directors diversified, Kitchen Sink Drummer was taken up by television directors who produced television plays. The single play was then a staple of the medium, and Armchair Theatre, 1956 to 1968, produced by the ITV contractor ABC, The Wednesday Play, 1964 to 1970, and Play for Today, 1970 to 1984, both BBC series contain many works of this kind.
You can hear the whistle blow 500 miles, 500 miles, 500 miles, 500 miles, 500 miles. You can hear the whistle blow 500 miles.
Well, I was a bit fed up, you know. There didn't seem to be much there for me. You know how these little towns are. One coffee bar. It was closed on a Sunday. Didn't even tell them I was going. I sent him a card when I got down there. That house over there. Yeah, that one with the broken steps. That's where I went for a room. And the fella kept touching me. Where did I get a room in the end? Oh, yeah, down there. Mantua Street, £3 a week. That's where I got my first job. Petrol pump girl. Mad.
Jeremy Sanford's television play, Kathy Come Home, 1966, directed by Ken Loach for the Wednesday Play slot, for instance, addressed the issues of homelessness. Kitchen Sink Drummer was used in the novels of Stan Barstow, John Brain, Alan Silito, and others.
Vigorous of recent pictures, says the New York Herald Tribune. A very exceptional film, a gem of the naturalistic style.
You know the trouble with you? You don't know the difference between right and wrong. And I don't think you ever will.
Maybe I won't, but I don't want anybody to teach me either.
days. I want to be there that day. I want to stand up in your tears and splash about in them and sing. I want to be there when you grovel. I want to be there. I want to watch it. I want the front seat. I want to be there when your face is rubbed in the mud. There's nothing else I can hope for anymore. There's nothing else I want anymore.
There's a call for you downstairs.
Well, can't be anything good, can it? What is it?
Listen, Allison. I'm going to call your father. Oh, I'm going to ask him to come up and fetch you home. I see. Now you'll go when he comes for you. Yes, I'll go. Expect he should be here by 4. Perhaps after you've gone, Jimmy will come to his senses and face up to things.
I pity all of us.
I don't understand you or him or any of it.
What is it?
Oh, I don't know. She's had a stroke.
Oh, I'm sorry. How bad is she?
They didn't say much. I think she's dying. You ever seen anybody die?
No, I haven't.
For 12 months I watched my father die when I was 10 years old. He'd come back from the war in Spain, you see.
Look at that little boy over there. He's filthy. And his hair, it's walking away. She shouldn't be allowed.
Who?
His mother. Think of the harm she does having children. Look at that. It's dead. Bit of love, a bit of lust, and there you are. We don't ask for life, we have it thrust upon us. Hold me hand, Jeff.
All my mother could think was that she was married to somebody who was on the wrong side in all things. Perhaps she pitied him. I was the only one who cared. Hour upon hour, I sat in that little room. He would talk, you know. Pour out all that was left of his life to a small, frightened boy who could barely understand half of what he said. All I could feel was the despair and the bitterness, the sweet, sickly smell of a dying man.
Hold me hand.
Joe?
You've got nice hands. Hard. I used to try and hold my mother's hands, but she always used to pull them away from me. I like you.
Oh, do you like me more than you don't like me, or don't you like me more than you do?
Now you're being Irish.
Well, a fine Irish woman you are. Where did your ancestors fall? Back to Salford Town Hall?
My mother's father was Irish, and she had me by an Irishman. Village idiot from what I can make out.
You what?
A frolic in an hayloft one afternoon. She said he had eyes like me.
Are you making it up?
No. He lived in the Twilight Land, my daddy. The land of the daft.
Did Helen tell you all this?
Yes.
Yes, I thought so. She likes to make an effect, that one. Well, can you see Helen going out with a real loony?
Oh, thanks, Jeff. You're a cure.
Hey, I've got something for you. Well, I got it from the clinic, you know. I thought you could practice a few holds on it.
The colour's wrong.
What?
The colour's wrong. I'll bash his brains out and kill it. I don't want this baby, Jeff. I don't want to be a mother. I don't want to be a woman.
Joe?
See, I learned at an early age what it is to be angry. Angry. Helpless. I need you to come with me.
Let's go.